Hey guys. Okay, so a couple of months ago I had a catch up with the local councillor, mainly because he kind of wanted to get his head around the whole town planning process in a bit more detail. Anyway, one of the things that he said to me in that conversation, which kind of surprised me, was that one of his biggest struggles when it comes to town planning is getting people to understand that he is not council, that he is not responsible for assessing and deciding the applications. Now at the time I kind of sat there and went, oh, that's obvious, isn't it? Like, why is that even an issue? Anyway, fast forward to last week and I was having a chat to a client and he was sitting there saying, but I've had this long conversation with the local councillor and they told me Y. But hold on a sec, council is telling me X. Why are they two different things? And I sat there and went, because they're not the same person, like they're two different entities. Anyway, fast forward to last night again, I was having a chat to someone and they said in passing conversation, oh yeah, local councillors, they're council representatives. And I went, yeah, not quite. So, as I always say when it comes to these videos, once I start to hear the same sort of issue or topic or question coming up multiple times, it's like the universe's way of saying to me, it's this week's video topic. So, this week we're going to talk about the fact that council, councillor, and councillors are three very, very similar sounding terms, but they have three different roles and responsibilities when it comes to the town planning world. So first and foremost, let's look at the employment status. So I'd say council is more like the traditional job. So when I graduated from uni, I applied via a job advert and I was put on a contract term. I think it was like 3 months or something like that. Anyway, at the end of the 3-month contract term, I was then put on a permanent basis. So my role was to act as a town planner on behalf of Brisbane City Council, the organisation. I was employed by them. Councillors, on the other hand, are voted through the general election process, so the local government election process that happens every 4 years. They are voted in by their constituents and they only operate for that 4 years and then they have to go through the whole process again if they want to go down that path. Political alignment. So as a town planner working on behalf of council, you are not outwardly aligned to any political party. Obviously we're dealing with humans and individuals here, so everyone has their little preferences, but you're not allowed to let that influence your role and the day-to-day work that you do. Politicians, on the other hand, the councillors, on the other hand, they're 100% politically driven, like they're all about the politics. Next is the role and responsibility. So, as a council town planner, there's probably two different types of town planners, key town planners. First of all, you've got the strategic town planners. Their role and responsibility is to do the consultation process with the community, to gather all the information, analyse it, all of that sort of stuff, and to come up with the rules and regulations that they want to propose to try and achieve ESD, economically sustainable development, which is what I talked about earlier this week. I think it was the post that I did earlier this week. Anyway, their responsibility is to come up with the legislation. Now, I am massively simplifying this here, but then they pass that to the local councillors. And the local councillors get in a big beef. They go back and forth. Not really. They basically debate back and forth between themselves to work out what they want to change, what they don't want to change, all of that sort of stuff. Then goes back to the council strategic town planners, who then workshop it a bit more. Then it goes back to the councillors again, who argue about it again a bit more. Goes back and forth. There is the state government involved in there, but like I said, I am simplifying things here. Eventually, you end up getting this rule book that everyone's happy with, everyone agrees on. Then it comes down to the DA town planners. DA town planners are another type of town planner within council. That is what I worked as when I worked in council. So the DA town planner's role is essentially to assess applications and decide applications under that legislation or against that legislation. So what does this all mean in super simple terms? Well, essentially, when it gets to the local councillors, they are not directly involved in assessing and deciding town planning applications. However, their comments do have some influence or impact on an application, particularly when it's something outside of the box. So whenever I get one of those inquiries that's just totally out there, typically it's for community groups because their proposals never fit the boxes. But yeah, when I get those sort of inquiries, probably the first thing I say is, okay, you need to go and have a chat to your local councillor and see what their feedback is. If they turn around and go, yep, 100% on board, happy to put my name to this, happy to support this, okay, that generally shows me that it's in the community's interest. It's something that the community is going to support, and therefore we can go forward with council, the town planners, in trying to push that argument. It's something that's, yes, it's out of the box, but it's in the community's interest. It's going to be a good outcome. Whereas if you go to the local councillor and they go, yeah, no, we got some tree issues or we got some hypersensitivity going around there for this reason or that reason, you go, okay, that's a sign of what the community is going to think, and therefore that's going to have an impact on our chance of success when it comes to council. So yeah, at the end of the day, the council town planners can't refuse an application or approve an application just because a local councillor comes in and says, I want this. They need to abide by or assess it against that legislation. But in opportunities or situations where the legislation is more I'm not going to say airy-fairy, what's the word I'm looking for? Basically, when you're going down the performance path and you have that flexibility to focus on the intent and go a bit higher in terms of thinking, the local counsellor's input does have an impact. So hopefully that clarifies what the difference is there. Like I said, the terminology is very, very similar, but they all have different roles and responsibilities when it comes to the town planning process. As I always say, until next time, thanks for watching.
For all you red tape lovers out there, I have one thing to say. Well, no, actually, I've got three. Number one, the advice provided in these videos is general in nature. It's not site-specific. You would be a silly Billy to go and make financial decisions based on this advice without first checking with the town planner. Don't be a silly Billy. Number two, Brisbane town planning is in no way linked to Brisbane City Council. The views expressed in these videos are my own, not council's. So if you don't like them, blame me, not council. Number three, what was my number three? Oh yeah, the views expressed in these videos are accurate at the time of recording. If you're watching this video back 10 years from now, the views may not be so accurate. That's all.